It's not that can we afford to make our buildings and our places and spaces accessible and accessible to a degree, and to a growing degree, it's about can we afford not to.
Welcome everybody to Black Cat Chat. My name's Andy Clow, Marketing Director here at Black Cat. Anyone who's watched this before already knows that. I'm told I say it too often. Today we've got another kind of step out of our normal comfort zone, and we've come on site to visit a not a client, not necessarily a colleague yet, but an expert in his field, for want of a better term. Nick Goss of Goss Consultancy. I'll let you do the full intro to yourself as to what you do. But thank you for having us in your space with this, as we were talking about this purple. Yeah, very much. With this purple wall, which you just gave us reason as to why you might want to have a purple wall.
Maybe.
But Nick, let's hand over to you. Give us a little idea of who you are, why we're here, and we're going to start talking about buildings, because it's the building podcast.
The building podcast. Well, first of all, great to be with you today, Andy. Thanks for coming. So my name is Nick Goss, and I am the owner and runner of Goss Consultancy Limited. We've been up and running now for about 20 years, I think it is. And we help our clients to become accessible and inclusive in everything they do, everywhere they do it, and everybody they did it before. And we work in a whole range of sectors. I really have been able throughout the whole journey to give them that kind of confidence and that competence in this space. So inclusive design, inclusive customer service, inclusive policy and practice development, really making sure I can really embed that into the DNA of their companies and help them to really kind of get a value from it as well. For themselves, for their clients, and for their customers, and everyone that they deliver for them.
Yeah, so we've known each other for a little while, a bit of background as to how we're sat down together today. Now, the space that we're in, I used to work in an adjacent office in a marketing agency, and
you were there?
I don't have a day. I've worked harder than most of them, but we went through COVID together, didn't we?
We did.
We did. On that initial kind of.
We were the ones that came in the office.
We were the ones. The social distancing of it happened. And so everyone else kept out the office from the business we were at. And they were on furlough and everything, that's all cool. And then obviously your business with your team, but you just want to get out of the house, right?
No comment.
Yeah, there we go. And so, and we especially over that blissful summer where it was glorious weather, and we got to know each other well as friends, and got to know each other's in skill sets and needed to get a little bit of an understanding of our business. So, so why don't you give us a background into you, and then we'll start talking about the business. What makes you the expert that you are?
Yeah, so I'm a wheelchair user. I've been a wheelchair user since birth. I'm also got limited dexterity. I've got a speech impairment, and all that. I have had since I was born. I'm also a parent. I'm also a partner, and I've been through a bit of a kind of journey of life, like we all have really. And that was one of the reasons why I kind of started Goss, because I was having the same conversations with so many people. I'd been the same conversations with transport providers, or the same conversations
as a consumer,
as a consumer, and me, how can we help them? How can we be better at providing services? I'd have been the same conversation with service providers, and then I thought, well, if I'm able to do this all the time anyway, it might as well turn into a bit of a kind of proper organization, and we help language people to really kind of think about what they're doing, and also what they're doing really well, and also what they're even better look like. So I'm a bare mousing yes and person, rather than yes but person. So rather than going in and banging people over the head and say, oh, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, it's about how can we really give clients, how can we really give people the confidence in what they are doing well when it comes to increasing practice, or what even better might look like. And that was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And here we are now. And it's been a journey, and it's been a really great journey. And we work with very small clients. We also work with very big clients.
Go on, reel off some of the clients. So let's get the.
I mean, if I'm undertake that, about half the Premier League, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a bit more like it depends on how well they're doing on the field, okay? Yeah. And there's a limit to what we can help them with. So, when they get relegated, that is not up to us.
No, fair, yeah. Disclaimer right there, well done.
Yeah, we work with big museums, so in the UK, we look after about 4 national museums, both in the UK and around the world. And we look after about 5 UNESCO heritage sites. Some of them are a bit more than others. So things like Stonehenge, for example, Blenheim Palace,
Lovely.
London,
Yeah.
We like a nice venue.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, yeah.
You like a nice hotel, as I recall.
Oh, we like hotels, We like hotels, we like, nice kind of venues. It's not about me and my days out, but it does.
It does, I imagine, yeah. No, that's fabulous, Nick. Thank you so much. So, yeah, you've gone through just some of the highlights of the type of clients you've got. Now, obviously, the range from a brand new Premier League stadium type status all the way back to, Stonehenge, right? There's a lot of different issues that need to be fixed, and
where very much in increasing development they built with Stonehenge.
I don't know, you can get round it, can't you? What's the gap between some of the stones?
It's definitely,
Yeah.
step 3.
Step 3. There you go. Well done, Neolithic man, for doing that. But in terms of, so you've set up the business, the scale of Goss now. How many? You work mostly with contractors, or how do you?
Yeah,
how do you get that?
We have an associate model, and we've got a consultancy work in many different fields. So we kind of got 3 strands of our business.
Okay.
We've got our training and learning development side.
Yep.
Okay. We got our access and inclusive design side, and then we've got the kind of consultancy side as well.
Right. Okay.
I also do more right now in the world of digital inclusion as well.
Okay.
We kind of fit all that together.
Right. Okay.
In that kind of inclusive practice landscape.
Okay. So as this is the building podcast, let's kind of not talk about the training and stuff. So in terms of give some examples of recent work that you've done where you have made these improvements with your positive outlook on life, like you say, that this and let's reel off some of the
enjoy today, look forward to tomorrow and all that. Yeah, definitely. So, we work with a whole range of different building types, and we kind of really work with them throughout the whole kind of process. Now, in your world, you'll be very familiar with the kind of REBA process.
Yeah.
So it's about how do we make sure and how do we support our clients to kind of think about the right things at the right time and in the right way.
Yeah.
To kind of minimize the risk of getting it wrong, maximize the benefit of getting it right. And also to help them to really kind of, like I said, embed that into their kind of inclusive design practice. So we work with massive, big construction sites, London, for example, where we would start right from the design, access, appraisal, right at the beginning of need, the process. So, I always say, and my colleagues always say, well, okay, like it's a lot easier, a lot cheaper to move a line on the drawing than what it is to move a wall.
100%. Yeah.
It's really bad. To kind of minimize priorities, minimize priorities. Make sure it's embedded in that kind of inclusive design project management.
Yeah.
methodology.
So, I mean, I've spent a bit of time over the last few years working in sustainability, which I think there's parallels. They're not the same, but parallels in terms of, especially in terms of drive towards that kind of result in whatever trade or industry that you're in. Where we are right now in this kind of, whether it is Trump fueled or whatever it is, the political space that we're in, it's not, you know, people aren't excited, don't seem to be as excited or as keen as they were on sustainability. And we've seen that in that industry. Is that the same with, you know, accessibility and all those fields that you work in, or has it managed to maintain this trajectory that, you know, it probably was on 5 years ago?
I think when we look at our world, okay, this is a world that can affect anyone at any time, okay?
Yeah.
So you basically got around 16.5 million disabled in the UK, okay?
Okay.
And then the ones that are covered by the legal definition, okay?
Right. Okay.
In reality, it's many, many more than that, yeah? And as you get older, there's much more likelihood of you being disabled, okay? So if you look at the statistics around how many people over the age of 60 have got some form of disability in massive. You've got a bit of a choice really, and you can either die young or become disabled. Happy days. Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
So with that mindset in mind, okay, you know, it would have seen it 10 years ago, we were talking about, you know, maybe physical access, maybe sensory access, very little about mental health and anxiety in particular, and also around neuroinclusion. Yeah. So I think this is a topic, and this is a subject that really affects everyone, and particularly your sector. You know, if you want to build successful buildings, those buildings have to be designed with everyone in mind. Okay? And it's not only about how you get in the building, but it's also about how you benefit and enjoy the content of that building as well. Yeah. Now what I think has always been, what also been really interesting is the journey that we've been on with access and inclusion. So you mentioned sustainability. I think in kind of 3 strands of that kind of puzzle. Okay, you got the sustainability strand, you got the health and safety strand, and then you got the access and inclusive design strand as well. Yeah. And what is really interesting in the now, okay, is that access inclusion is starting to level up to the same level as health and safety.
Yeah.
So where 10 years ago, or you know, we would never even hesitate about doing a health and safety risk assessment or an impact assessment, okay? That's where we're going when it comes to access inclusion. Part of that is then COVID, because obviously the experience of COVID, there was a big emphasis on access and inclusion, so health and safety.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of COVID, like screens and all that kind of thing, less emphasis on access and inclusion, okay? As we went through that journey, we kind of married up that kind of health and safety, access, and inclusive design for the methodology, the way we're looking at things. And in a way, we kind of married that up this for table. And you know what, Andy? I've completely forgotten your question, but that
it does perfectly, yeah, absolutely. But my next question from this as well, for that driver, for the driver of what is actually causing, you know, your clients to either, you know, people to approach you as new clients or existing clients to come back and get additional work done. Is it regulation? Is it something as airy-fairy as moral duty? You know, what do you find? You know, when you go and meet a client on day one, why have they called you in?
Well, that's a really interesting one, Andy. But we often get a phone call that says, "We think you've got a bit of a problem."
Okay,
and you say how big problem before we contact, obviously. Very often we do get called in because there is a actual perceived risk. They've got something wrong, they may have been challenged
Yeah.
Okay. Not always the case, but often the case, and then it's basically how we can effectively, appropriately, and constructively support them with that.
Sure.
And then get them hopefully continuing on that journey to understand how we can move it from a risk management dynamic to a business benefit dynamic. And there's kind of three areas that we look at. We look at more ethical case, we look at the legal ethical case, and we look at the business case for getting you right,
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about, compliance plus,
Okay.
and compliance plus is about how we obviously support and ensure that our clients are doing what they need to do from a compliance perspective, but then how do we then kind of help them to really promote best practices and be leaders in that field, and kind of, and that's part right, getting competitive advantage by doing that.
Yeah. And I think you're saying about there is the business-led side of any of these kind of what may 10 years ago have been seen as kind of peripheral thoughts as to how they can improve their business. As we first came in here and we said about this purple wall, and then you mentioned the purple pound.
The purple pound.
What is the purple pound?
Well, the purple pound is the kind of disposable income that disabled people and their families have spent in the UK.
Okay.
I remember, Andy, if I can't get in somewhere, okay, not only will I not come, okay, but the people that I move won't come either.
Yeah.
I remember probably about 5 years ago, but before the pandemic, I got invited to a wedding, and there was 250 people coming to that wedding, okay, and when the bride and groom found out the venue weren't accessible to many, okay, they cancelled the whole venue and they moved the whole wedding from the inaccessible venue to the accessible venue.
This is how popular you are.
So
How much of the life and soul of the party you are.
they're
going to change that whole freaking thing for you.
Well, but I'll come to that in a minute. So that first venue, okay, missed out on a booking for 250 people.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that is really nice, isn't it? I had for them, I couldn't go. Never heard from them again. But it kind of really emphasised that kind of, like I said, the more ethical case, the legal casual case, and the business case, it's not about can we afford to make our buildings and our places and spaces accessible and feasible to a degree, and to a growing degree. It's about can we afford not to.
Yeah. One of the things that we were considering is the lots of buildings, you walk up to as an able-bodied, person who's not necessarily thinking about these things, and there isn't any obvious, step-free access, or there's no consideration.
Yeah.
So what, in a brief kind of summary, what are the, because obviously this could go on a lot longer, but a brief summary of what are those kind of easily fixed costs, obviously implications, but blind spots, again, apologies to the pun, that some building owners, landlords, even tenants, etc., could, pick up from this and make quick changes.
Well, I mean, I think there are a couple of specific areas that could be good. So wayfinding, for example. Yeah, how you find your way around.
Yeah. Love a bit of signage.
Another bit of signage. But what's really interesting about signage ideas, they often, only works effectively in one way, okay? Yeah, the people will look at it from a kind of getting in point of thing. They forget to look at it from a getting out point of thing. Like, wayfinding, really for that, we make sure.
Find your way to the middle of the maze, but not the way back.
Yeah. So that is that's a really interesting area. And also kind of dementia-friendly buildings, So let's think about it from a kind of, what is it like where the real people in the real world visiting your building, So, great example for me is that, when I get into a lift, and if I'm looking at the right bit of the lift, okay, when that lift door opens, how do I know what floor I am on, okay? If there isn't either a number on the wall opposite, okay, or how we use colour coding to to distinguish different parts of the building. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Another really interesting one is that very often, well, not very often, but often, if you got black flooring, for people with dementia, that can look like a hole.
Okay.
Yes, that's something that you need to pick by, yeah. But the real way how you can overcome those pitfalls, exceed the fun, okay, is lived experience. So,
Okay. Yeah.
when we do our access audit, for example, number one, we never call them an audit, okay?
Yeah.
When you think about an audit, you think about people with clipboard,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
turning up in your building. But when we do our access reviews, okay, we do what we call a walk and talk. So
Okay. Yeah.
we take the right people on the process with us.
Yeah.
So rather than having that massive big report, okay, dumped on your desk, which we know everyone reads every word of,
course.
okay,
Yeah.
it's about how do we take the right people on that journey.
Yeah.
So when they see that report, okay, they can really understand what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and how we got to do it. And the other thing that we do, Andy, okay, we have something called a experience reality insight panel, okay?
Okay.
And I made up for disabled people and other people from all over the country,
Right.
okay, with all different pyramids, all different what we call characteristics there, and we use them to provide lived experience.
Okay.
So as you kind of visit our space,
Yeah.
okay, and then give really great kind of feedback onto what that building feels like.
That sounds.
How it works then.
Sounds like a better way of doing it.
I'm a great believer in terms of personal insight in professionally delivered
Yeah.
to clients. They can really understand what it means for them and what even better might look like.
Yeah. Yeah. And this might be a slightly personal question, but have you ever rolled up, pun intended this time, to a premises and literally got to that front and like, oh, there is no step-free access, so we have to have this meeting outside? Yeah. And that's
I'll tell you a story, right? So, first time I ever went to university, first day, right? First day university, right? Okay. And
this wasn't long ago, was it?
Huh?
This wasn't that long ago.
I know. And I went to special school.
Yeah.
And then I went to a further education college for disabled people. Okay. So I never actually been in a mainstream,
The real world.
in the real world.
Yeah.
And I was a bit nervous. I spent the whole summer, like thinking about how am I going to integrate, how am I going to get used to being in this environment or whatever. And I decided I would take it really slowly, meet a couple of people at a time, okay,
Yeah.
and all that. And I remember the first day, I remember being to university, just say goodbye to my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And they put a note on my door saying, come and meet the rest of your year in the main lecture theatre, okay? And I'm thinking, right, this would be a good opportunity to meet a couple of people, blend in, no problem at all. I'm on the way to this main lecture theatre.
Yeah.
Fine. And as is always my downfall, well, it used to be, but not now, because it began,
There's a waste school.
yeah.
Oh, okay. What we got there?
Got talking to a girl, okay?
Yeah.
I wasn't really kind of listening where I was going, okay? I went in the back door of this little theatre.
Yeah.
And what no one ever told me, okay, it was hid.
The wayfinding wasn't very good.
And the wayfinding was so big. So I went straight off the top here
Yeah.
of this little theatre and could have rode right down to the bottom, okay?
Okay.
And the last thing I can remember is kind of laying there on the stage going, hi, I'm Nick. Before to the hospital for a week. Yeah, so, yes.
Yeah. Make an impact. Make an entrance.
It worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was.
Oh, so it worked with the girl that you were walking in with. Yeah.
Well, no, it worked.
And the bedside.
I've gone and met quite a lot of people.
Of course you did.
And they remember me.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite what I had shown him.
I'm sure they still remember you. Yeah. But that as well. You remember that time that Nick? Yeah.
Yeah, and save me a lot of money. I bought me drinks for the rest of the time. Every time I year.
So.
That was amazing. That would be it. So kind of, return on investment, but not with goodness.
That's That's hilarious. That is, yeah, that's brilliant. The majority of work you do is not, it's not homes, right? You do businesses or organizations and
Places and places.
spaces and places. Thank you. Yeah. So, but I remember when we were talking a few years ago about, even just Black Cat. Currently, we do not work within the residential space, but it just reminds me of when we were talking about you were trying to move. And I don't think you did end up.
Yeah.
But I mean, how was that really influenced your decision as well, right? As in, you found accessible places, but they've been built so bloody far away from anywhere.
Yeah.
Did you move there?
Well, yeah, but that's a really interesting bit. But so where we live, and I don't. You live? Where do you live?
I'm in Watford.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're in Berkshire. The reason I'm in saying we live in a valley. Okay.
Yep.
So I had a very limited number of streets. Okay.
Yes.
That would work for me as a wheelchair.
And I feel like there are about 45 trees as well around here.
I'm quite good at going down here. I'm Vic, not so good at stopping. Yeah, so that was a bit of a challenge. Okay, so when we moved house, and I was living in a 2-bedroom flat for many years, and now I've got kids and everything. That was a real process there, and that to me really kind of highlighted a number of areas. So, one, how do you find the right property?
Yep.
Okay. And then how do you then get anything you need done in that property? So what happened was that I sold my flat to a landlord, okay, who then wanted to rent it out, okay, and I became his first tenant. But okay, I kind of rented it out. I rented my own flat.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I came in about a month and I kind of emailed with him and told him everything that was wrong with it. And he goes, we knew this that months ago, but yeah, don't tell him that bit. So, but what he did, okay, it kind of highlights the home, main issues about how you actually do kind of management. What also highlighted to me was how good would it be if there was some way of people knowing what properties always be adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something has been adapted, okay? Having it to know about it, it might be good for them. But yes, we don't think that this way.
Oh no, it was just interesting for me because the whole idea, but the fact that the challenges that you face every day, and like you say, 17 million people are very
well now 17 million, but it's going up by about about roughly now 5-7% per year.
Yeah. And so, we're in an accessible workspace with these, with a lot of properties, especially in London, the properties that Black Cat are working on up and down the country. It's not always design and build.
No.
So it's not always got that luxury of, well, actually, let's have
most of them are.
We need. Especially most of them are not. So, what are some of the challenges that you guys have dealt with recently, and actually improvements that other people might know?
Well, thinking about, looking at living in the real world, okay? So what can be done? What can't be done, okay? What can be done? How do we support our clients to do it and do it well, okay? And when we say our clients, so quite a lot of our clients, they may be tenants, okay?
Yes.
And they may be landlords. So it's about how do we help to facilitate our conversation, yeah? So how can we have a really open, honest conversation about, these are the challenges that we've identified, okay? And how do we work together effectively, appropriately, and in the real world?
Yeah.
Of
That's a really interesting point. The tenant landlord balance. If you work in our industry, you're obviously going to have both of those sides depending on the property. So which, if you've got a tenant, because again, going back to the term I use in every episode about being a 6-year-old in the room, learning about this industry. If you're a tenant, how do you help the tenant, with the landlord? What's the balance? Like how much power can you enable them?
Well, I mean, I mean, the law's a bit of a blunt instrument, but obviously the law's there, but I think it's about helping both sides to understand, what is the value and what is the benefit of getting this right.
Yeah.
Okay, so more tenants now are saying, we have to move into, you know, a property that is accessible
Yeah.
and increasable. That kind of, the business case for the landlord is becoming more and more
Yeah.
powerful, but also kind of will need to understand the process, understand the dialogue, and how do we get that environment right, okay, saying both sides can work together.
Yeah.
How about open on this dialogue, in terms of what they need and why, okay, and how can they kind of work together to hopefully, make that happen.
Yeah. And you work as that kind of
Yeah.
contact.
But also,
Yep.
confidence say yes we can, but every now and again, the confidence say no we can't do that, okay? But what can we do instead?
Yeah.
So, how do we make it, a real life conversation and that kind of real world.
Yeah.
Really.
And I suppose if we look at, you mentioned sort of 10 years ago and the approach and everything, that might, you've been looking at things differently. Yeah. Where are we going to be looking in 5 years' time? What's the change in your industry that you're seeing that might be a heads up to our listeners and viewers that they might start thinking about now?
Yeah, so I would hope that in 5 years' time, we're still here.
Yeah, that's why you're doing. Let's do that.
Yeah. But secondly, we do have that kind of, almost that kind of same mindset you have about health and safety, we have around this increase, and how we make sure that, I mean, we have to read the process, read the process is evolving, okay?
Yeah.
And it has got some very kind of tangible, um, requirements, and stays deliverable when it comes to accessing theatre design, but they're not always followed, so I hope that in 5 years' time, accessing theatre design is mission critical to any building, okay? It's fully embedded into the kind of project management methodology. All the stakeholders understand, like I said earlier, what the more ethical, legal, tasteful, and business case is for getting it right, but also everyone can see the real value of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Nick, that's absolutely brilliant. I've learned a lot from you today. Hopefully, definitely our listeners and viewers will have done the same as well. So I think why don't we put a pin in that conversation there, and we'll come back and we'll have a chat with you again in the future. Hopefully, maybe we've worked on a project together and we can get one of my colleagues in to talk to you about how we actually, how we went about achieving these things, which is the ultimate game. So thank you, Nick, for joining me today, or allowing us to come to your purple box. And we look forward to welcoming you back next time. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure to be one of your Black Cat.
Thank you, Nick. It's been a pleasure.